Thank you for joining us on the news on NTA International. We are live in Abuja. I am Lami Ali. Shegun Ajayi is the sign language interpreter. We begin with the headlines. Nigeria and United Arab Emirates agree on issuance of visas to Nigerian passport holders. Rwandans and Syrians head to the polls to elect new leaders. Gambian lawmakers uphold ban on female genital mutilation. Source Center upscales advocacy on benefits of artificial intelligence. Now, Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates have agreed on issuance of visas to Nigerian passport holders intending to travel into the Arab country. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris disclosed this after the meeting of the Federal Executive Council this Monday. The minister noted that the agreement for the resumption of travel to the UAE for Nigerian passport holders follows successful talks and extensive mutually beneficial negotiations between the government of the United Arab Emirates and the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The agreement includes updated controls and conditions to facilitate obtaining a UAE visa. The resumption of visas will be effective from July 15, 2024. Nigerians wishing to learn more about the updated visa conditions from the UAE can visit documentverificationhub.ae for any additional information. U.S. President Joe Biden calls on people to lower the temperature of the country's politics during an address in the Oval Office after his political opponent, Donald Trump, was injured in an assassination attempt at a rally. Comfort Fashion brings us the details.
You know, the political record in this country has gotten very heated. It's time to cool it down.
U.S. President Joe Biden condemned the assassination attempt on his predecessor, Donald Trump, in a primetime address from the White House, telling Americans that U.S. politics must never be a killing field.
The power to change America should always rest in the hands of the people, not in the hands of a would-be assassin.
Trump, the presumptive Republican nominee for president, was wounded in the air after a gunman opened fire at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. One person was killed and 2 more were critically injured in the attack. Mr. Biden urged Americans to take a step back. He added, and I quote, "No matter how strong our convictions, we must never descend into violence." End of quote. The president called on Americans to come together and shun what he called increasing political polarization. Mr. Biden and Trump remain locked neck and neck in opinion polls ahead of the election. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump returned to the campaign trail on Monday as the star of the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And a judge in Florida, Island Canaan, has dismissed the case against the former President Trump's handling of classified documents. Comforts, Fashion, NTA News.
Now, sorting and counting of ballots in Rwanda's election are underway as polls closed at 3 p.m. local time, with partial results expected to be released as tallying progresses. In the same vein, Syrian fourth parliamentary election is about now rounding off in the country. Comfort Fashion again brings us the report.
More than 9 million Rwandans registered to cast their ballots across 2,433 polling stations, with the presidential race being held at the same time as legislative elections for the first time. Rwanda's de facto leader, Paul Kagame, whom has been in the government since the end of the 1994 genocide and president since 2000, only faces 2 challenges after several prominent critics were barred from contesting the election. With the African nation's leader, Paul Kagame, set to cruise to victory and extend his rule for another 5 years, the 66-year-old is credited with rebuilding the nation after the genocide. Kagame has also overseen economic growth rates of an average of 7.2% between 2012 and 2022, and the development of infrastructure, including hospitals and roads. But his regime is widely criticized by right groups as autocratic, stifling the media and political opposition with arbitrary detentions. And in Syria, the fourth parliamentary election since civil war erupted in 2011 was on until 7 p.m. local time, when polls were expected to be closed. The report says the poll is expected to keep President Bashar al-Assad's ruling Ba'ath Party in power. The Ba'ath Party, in power since 1963, and its secular left wing and Arab nationalist allies are running virtually unopposed in the votes, with independence the only alternative. While voting was calm in most areas, a local media outlet reported demonstration against parliamentary polls outside a police station in the city center. There were gunfire ringing out in the southern Syrian city of Sueda as protesters gathered around a man wounded by security forces. Sueda is the heartland of Syria's Druze minority, which has seen regular demonstrations for almost a year. And more than 1,500 people are standing in for 250 seats in the parliament after some 7,400 candidates withdrew in recent days. Meanwhile, the president's Ba'ath Party is expected to secure most of the seats in the legislative ballot, which is held every 4 years.
Still on election matters, Nepal's Khadga Sharma has been sworn in as Prime Minister after his Communist Party formed a coalition government with the centre-left Nepali Congress, thereby shifting power in the country's parliament. Comfort Fashion reports.
The 72-year-old Oli is the chief of the second largest party in the parliament, the Communist Party of Nepal. Unified Marxist-Leninist, returns as Prime Minister for the fourth time. In the Himalayan Republic of about 30 million people, overshadowed by giant neighbors India and China, Oli previously trod a fine balance between the rivals, cordial to both but reaching out to Beijing to decrease Nepal's dependency on New Delhi. First elected as Prime Minister in 2015, he was re-elected in 2018 with rare majority government and then reappointed briefly in 2021. His predecessor and former coalition government ally, Pushpa Kamal Dahal, lost the vote of confidence on Friday, barely 18 months after taking office. And Oli instead forged a deal with Sher Bahadur Deuba of the Nepali Congress. He has promised to yield a post to the former five-time Prime Minister, Deuba, 78, later in the parliamentary term. Nepal's next general elections are due in 2027. Comfort Fashion, NTA News.
Keir Starmer has become the new Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. But why should Africa worry about the outcome of the 2024 UK elections? Our correspondent, Justin Bemui, has some answers and findings. Let's get to see from this special report.
Keir Starmer's ascent to the position of Prime Minister marks a significant shift in the UK's political landscape. This is as the Conservative has ruled the country for 14 years. Africa, as a continent, is now taking notice of this new development for some reasons.
Country first, party second isn't a slogan. It's the guiding principle everything we have done and must keep on doing. On the economy, on national security, on protecting our borders.
Firstly, Starmer's Labour Party has outlined a robust foreign policy agenda with a focus on rebuilding and strengthening international relationships.
Service, and that is how we will govern.
This includes a commitment to re-engage with the Commonwealth, where many African nations are members. Experts have opined that improved relations could lead to enhanced diplomatic ties and increased collaboration on global issues such as climate change, trade, and security.
Of course, he's going to also enjoy significant support from the King Charles, who himself is a climate change enthusiast, who himself is about the environment, who himself is concerned with a lot of these issues around Commonwealth, even while his mother was around.
Trade is another crucial area. The UK has been keen to establish new trade agreements post-Brexit. Starmer's government is expected to pursue trade deals that could be beneficial to African economies, promoting economic growth and development. This could mean increased market access for African goods and services, fostering economic partnerships that benefit both regions.
We saw what happened in the days of Tony Blair, the shuttle diplomacy and whatnot. So we will be seeing a lot of that. We will be seeing an increase in trade relations. Trade relations between the two countries, like I said, stands at an all-time high at this moment. I'm sure that we'll be seeing that taken to another stage.
Aid and development policies are also likely to see changes. The Labour Party has traditionally supported strong international aid programs. With Starmer at the helm, these potential for increased aid to African nations focusing on health, education and infrastructure. Such support, as seen, could accelerate progress towards sustainable development goals across the continent. Moreover, Starmer's stance on human rights and governance aligns with many African nations' efforts to improve democracy and the rule of law. His administration is expected to advocate human rights and support initiatives aimed at strengthening governance structures, which could inspire and support democratic reforms in African countries. And the UK's approach to immigration and diaspora relations is of significant interest. The African diaspora in the UK plays a vital role in the socio-economic landscape of both regions. Policies that support the diaspora can enhance remittances, cultural exchange, and bilateral relations.
And on the African continent, we are faced with a deficit. There's a deficit in development, there's a deficit in governance, and of course, there's a deficit in peace. So I am sure with the coming of Starmer, there will be the need to have a rethink around how these issues will be addressed, and I'm very sure that his leadership is going to ensure that these issues are brought to the front burner.
Observers are of the views that Keir Starmer's leadership could bring about substantial changes in UK-Africa relations, impacting trade, development aid, governance, and diaspora relations. As the world watches the new Prime Minister's next moves, Africa will be paying close attention to how these changes unfold and what opportunities they may present. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
We move to Gambia, where lawmakers voted on Monday to uphold a 2015 ban on female genital mutilation, rejecting a controversial bill seeking to overturn the law after months of heated debate and international pressure. Again, Justin Bemunyi has the reports.
Legislators killed the bill by voting against all the proposed amendments to the 2015 text that would have decriminalized the practice. Rights groups and the United Nations had urged MPs to reject the bill, saying it threatened years of progress and would have seen the Gambia become the first country to overturn a ban on female genital mutilation, FGM. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Bakari Tombong Jatta, said, and I quote, "The Women's Amendment Bill 2024, having gone through the consideration stage, with all the clauses voted down, is hereby deemed rejected. I rule that the bill is rejected and the legislative process exhausted. End of quote. The bill had been making its way through Parliament since March, deeply dividing public opinion in the West African country. The text, introduced by MP Almame Giba, says that female circumcision is a deep-rooted cultural and religious practice, but anti-FGM campaigners and international rights groups say it is a harmful violation against women and girls. FGM involves the partial or total removal of the female external genitalia or other injury to the female genital organs and can lead to serious health problems including infections, bleeding, infertility, and complications in childbirth. The Gambia is among the 10 countries with the highest rates of FGM, with 73% of women and girls aged 15 to 49 having undergone the procedure, according to 2024 figures from UNICEF. A UN report from March said that more than 230 million girls and women worldwide are survivors of the practice. Justin Bemunyi, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International. We take a break. Do stay tuned.
We will work diligently to make sure every Nigerian feels the impact of their government, the economic aspirations, and the material well-being of the poor, the most vulnerable, and the working people shall not be neglected. It is in this spirit that we are going to implement a new national living wage for our industrious workers this new year. It is not only good economics to do this, it's also a morally and politically correct thing to do.
Thank you for staying. President Bola Tinubu has approved the reinstatement of Professor Neni Bari Nizabe as the project coordinator of the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYPREP. The president reached the decision following a performance review of the HYPREP project coordinator and concludes that the project coordinator is fit to discharge his functions in accordance with the regulations guiding the execution of the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project. A statement by the Presidential Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngalale, indicates that by this directive of the President, the reinstatement of the HYPREP project coordinator takes immediate effect. Now, $10 million has been approved. $10 million have been earmarked for a Train the Trainers project geared towards skills development in Nigeria. The program is a partnership between federal governments and the World Bank. Zenret Dingbum reports that it is expected to bridge unemployment gap in the country.
We are expected to utilize that to train young Nigerians to the extent that they will be able to get employment. So your work starts from enrollment of these young people to job placements.
The project, under the Innovation Grant Facilities and Innovation Development and Effectiveness in the Acquisition of Skills, will focus primarily on women and persons with disabilities, opening up a wide array of opportunities to explore self-development and independence. Both parties believe it is watertight, as implementation has been set under strict conditions that must be met by grantees for full realization.
In Nigeria or everywhere now, without technology, they will not have any innovation. So we are using the technical or innovation in digital innovation to create or to teach the youths.
Potential grantees are ranked based on their proposals, and the top ones are selected for this training. So it's a very, very highly competitive process, and it is a very transparent process because it's not just one person that does the selection. It's a panel of different people.
About 10,000 youths are currently being trained under the program, with an expectation of 50,000 more in another year. In Abuja, Zenred Dingmoon, NTA News.
And the Nigerian Army Resource Center is upscaling advocacy on the benefits of artificial intelligence in boosting national security. To achieve this, the center is engaging experts in security to update military personnel and those from other fields on the relevance of AI in modern security operations. The defense correspondent Ismail Musa brings us the report.
Artificial intelligence play a crucial role in modern military operations through application of autonomous weapons targeting, surveillance, cybersecurity, and autonomous vehicles. To enhance the utilization of AI, the Nigerian Army Resource Center is considering ethical issues by setting boundaries for the use of AI for security purposes.
We can't run away from utilizing artificial intelligence. We are already using it. The military use drones on armed vehicles. That's artificial intelligence. And so the utilization is how do we utilize the platform, the equipment that are available without creating problem, without causing huge disaster. And that's one of the reasons why we brought them from Case College to look at, mix the two, look at leadership, artificial intelligence, and national security.
Leadership in an evolving world order, one of the programs of the center provides a platform for discussing the merit and demerits of AI.
Leadership is something that is all-encompassing and is something that is very important. And artificial intelligence is something that has dominated the world now and will definitely keep dominating the world for centuries to come. So it will be important for us to strike the balance between what is between leadership and artificial intelligence, and that's one of the things we are trying to explore here.
The Nigerian Armed Forces are adopting AI as a veritable force multiplier in the quest to further secure the nation. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Key players in the security sector are advocating legislations that will engage women inclusion in peace, security, and national development. This is the thrust of a one-day public dialogue on the role of legislature in advancing women, peace and security in Nigeria, organized by the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies in collaboration with the UN Women governments of Germany and Norway. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
For women everywhere, equality, development and peace.
The inequality and exclusion of women from peacemaking and conflict resolution processes is believed to be undermining efforts at conflict prevention. Experts at this dialogue agree hands must be on deck to change the narratives.
So if you don't engage women in all kinds of work you have in any society, you miss out on reaching the best results.
Women have made significant strides in the security sector. Today, more women are being recruited into the security agencies than ever before.
As Nigeria is currently developing this third National Action Plan on Women, Peace and Security, the need to engage the legislators in the development, implementation, monitoring and reporting of this policy document is critical.
To many, the way to sustainable peace and development is by having effective gender mainstreaming.
We all know the critical role that women play in the peace and security landscape. Their involvement in decision-making processes and peace-building effort is essential for achieving sustainable society.
Who is a woman? A woman is a peacemaker. She is the queen of the family, and out of the family comes a nation.
Very few women are involved in formal decision-making and resource allocation process. This is unfair, this is unjust, and this is not an equilibrium that we desire.
At the end of the one-day seminar, it is expected that a workable solution will be brought forward from the engagement to improve on women inclusion in security and development matters. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Now, the Director General, National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Zubaida Umar, says strict monitoring of construction of building must be intensified by monitoring institutions to reduce the loss of lives and property occasioned by the perennial building collapses across the country. The DG NEMA stated this during an on-the-spot assessment of the Saint Academy School building collapse site in Jos Plateau State. Ilyasu Yakubu reports.
According to the latest report by the Building Collapse Prevention Guild, Nigeria witnessed a total of 553 incidents between 1974 and April 2023. The report indicated that Lagos State recorded a high collapse with over 326 buildings covering the last 49 years. These represent 59.05% of a total of 553 recorded cases in the country during the period under review. Taraba, Bayelsa, Gombe, and Yobe State had their first recorded collapse in 2022. And Zamfara State has only one recorded building collapse, which happened in 2018. The glory years of 1971, 1975, and 1981 were years that had no recorded collapses. Year 2022 had the most collapses, with 62 nationwide and Lagos accounting for 20. In addition, 2023 recorded 12 collapses so far. The latest collapse in Jos Plateau State claimed 22 lives and 132 others sustained different degrees of injury. The DG NEMA, who sympathized with the government and people of Plateau State, commended communities in the affected area for rescue efforts.
So what we have done today is to take a rapid assessment. Once we get back, we're going to have the report, and then we'll know how NEMA can come in terms of intervention, be it medicals, be it food, for example. NEMA is there to assist in any way.
The state governor, Caleb Mofwan, thanked the DG NEMA for the sympathy visit and promised to ensure adherence to building rules and regulations among the people.
We will need to put in place and upgrade our building codes. People cannot just build anywhere, especially within the city center.
Experts say many quacks have been empowered by the fact that regulatory bodies and relevant apparatus of government are unwilling or unable to prosecute and convict persons found culpable of professional ineptitude regarding incidences of building collapse in Nigeria. In Abuja, Ilyasu Yakubu, NTA News.
Tuesday's weather forecast is next. And that brings us to the end of the news. I'm Lami Ali. Shegun Ajayi has been the sign language interpreter. Do have a good evening.